Some breaking transfer news. Mason Mount is going to be joining Manchester United for close to £60 million. It's got the Fabrizio Romano seal of approval. And it's an absolutely massive piece of business for Manchester United. I'm sure if you're a Man United fan, you must be gassed about this. England international for less than, well, for obviously Declan Rice is nearly double that price. Obviously close to the end of his contract, Mason Mount. It's a crazy kind of situation, absolutely crazy. In this video, I talk about what it means for Man United, what it means for Chelsea, absolutely embarrassing, and of course the player himself. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, we really appreciate that. Whew. Mason Mount, can't quite believe he's not in a Chelsea shirt. I always pictured him as a player that would always be in blue. Sometimes a bit like, I know Joe Cole came from West Ham, so did Frank Lampard, but those two players and Mason Mount kind of always, they make me think of Chelsea, maybe even a Dennis Wise kind of type figure as well. I thought Mason Mount was that kind of player. Obviously has helped them win the Champions League. It was a massive part of Frank Lampard's kind of revolution when there was no transfer budget or not able to sign transfers. So he's a young player from Cobham, loaned out, did very, very well on his loan spells, especially at Derby, and has come back and has been an England international and has been a massive part of Chelsea for the last 3 or 4, 5 years. And then they're letting him go for £60 million. Obviously, it's massive for the financial side of things for Chelsea. It's considered pure profit on the books for Chelsea, amongst all the other terrible bits of transfer business they've done. But on a footballing level, on a kind of morale level, on a kind of level for the fans, it stinks for me. It absolutely stinks. Chelsea now go into next season. Maybe they'll sign Caicedo. Maybe they'll sign Enzo Fernandez. But there's something to be said for having Chelsea players playing in that side. Players that have come through the academy, and especially someone that is at the pinnacle of that kind of process in Mason Mount. I think he wanted to stay. Maybe I don't know enough about the player, but I feel like he would have wanted to stay. Now, obviously, we'll talk about Man United in a minute, because it's not just, oh, he's going to any old club. He's going to one of the biggest clubs in world football. So it's a massively exciting opportunity for him for obvious reasons. But on some level, Pochettino, I think, would have wanted to keep him. Someone that works so hard off the ball. He's got a good quality on it. If he could have just found his position. Look at Dele Alli under Pochettino. I think he would have absolutely flourished Mason Mount. So it's a bit of a strange one, because I think he's a Pochettino kind of player. He's a player that, by the way, every single manager has managed Chelsea. He's the first name on the team sheet. You're thinking of Thomas Tuchel, absolutely loved him. Frank Lampard, of course. Even Graham Potter, who I know, wasn't massively loved by the fans. He was trusted as well. So Mason Mount is a trusted player. He's got a ceiling that is very, very high. He's a Champions League level quality player for the next 4, 5, 6 years. And Chelsea let him go for £60 million. If you actually look at the business, they've let him and Kovacic go for close to £80 million, £85 million. That's absolutely shocking. It's absolutely shocking. It's the kind of transfer business where you're trying to get yourself out of a hole that you've already dug yourself because of the poor transfers of Mudryk, of Koulibaly, of so many other players. Enzo Fernandez, I think, is shocking business for £100 million. And then you have to let these players go to Premier League rivals. Don't forget, maybe City are a slightly different league to Chelsea at the moment, with all due respect. But Man United and Chelsea were surely both competing for the same kind of top 5 spots next season. And then to let him go like that, it stinks that the ownership don't quite understand the fans. I think the fans absolutely love Mason Mount. And to let him go, I think it's just shocking. It's absolutely shocking. Let's talk about Man United. Man United have signed an England international. He can play anywhere in midfield. Maybe not deep, but anywhere as a kind of CM in a 2, or slightly higher up as a playmaker. He can play as a kind of tucked-in winger as well. He's got fantastic energy. He's very mobile. And he's got a good pass on him. He's got. I don't back his goal scoring ability. I don't back his conversion. I don't think he's got that in the locker yet. It could improve, of course. Ten Hag's a fantastic coach, but I think his ability to just drive through midfield, his ability to pick a pass. Of course, he got the assist for the Champions League final winning goal for Kai Havertz. It's absolutely amazing on his day. He can be a fantastic Mason Mount. When he does score, they seem to be world. He's got kind of a world-class repertoire of goals when he has scored. Fantastic goals from long range. And of course, he can drive into the box and score as well. And then you've got the work rate off the ball. Erik ten Hag is getting a player that will fight for everything. He knows what it means to play for Manchester United, whatever that means anymore. He'll take them closer back to what it used to mean, at least in a historical term, winning, fighting, believing, having quality on the ball. He's absolutely all of that in abundance. I think it's a fantastic bit of business for Manchester United. If I'm a Man United fan, I'm hoping that he comes up north, adjusts well. I think sometimes, you don't see many transfers from Chelsea to Manchester United. Sometimes I've always felt that kind of the Chelsea to Liverpool move sometimes doesn't always work. The Chelsea's, the Man United to Chelsea sometimes doesn't always work. Look at maybe Veron back in the day, Joe Cole to Liverpool. Sometimes leaving London, you can get players that sometimes arrive a little bit cold, a little bit maybe frozen out of where they used to live, etc. But if Man United can kind of build a little structure for him, get him set up and get him going, get him straight into the first team and put an arm around him almost, I think Mason Mount needs that a little bit. I think he needs a bit of consistency. I think Erik ten Hag is that kind of consistent figure, whatever that means in football, because everyone's getting sacked all the time these days. But I think Erik ten Hag's here for the long road. I was thinking about Erik ten Hag in terms of the lack of business that they've done this summer at Manchester United, except for Mason Mount. Would that frustrate him? Would that make him want to move potentially? Look at Pep and Klopp. If they weren't backed in the way they would have wanted to have been, would they have moved on? Potentially. But I don't think Erik ten Hag is that kind of figure. I don't think he wants to. I could see him staying for 4, 5, 6 years before Man United get it right. Obviously waiting for the takeover as well. So Mason Mount is that first key in unlocking the door for Manchester United, in my opinion, because I think he's so versatile. I think that he's unbelievably versatile. He can play anywhere. I think you let Fred go, you play Mason Mount in there, along with Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. You're looking at one of the best midfields in, I don't want to say European football, but it's close. It's really, really close. Certainly in the Premier League. I mean, it's a better midfield than Newcastle. It's a better midfield than Chelsea, definitely. It's a better midfield. It's close to Arsenal's midfield. It's close to Arsenal's midfield, especially if they lose Partey. So Mason Mount is making Man United so much stronger in midfield. Manchester United need a striker. They need a keeper. I'm not sure about this Onana chat. I don't think that is the solution. But surely if they sign a big striker, I don't know who that is, by the way. I don't know if that's going to happen. It looks unlikely. Man United have to be looking up the table. They have to be looking to get to City's position. They can't be seeing City win the treble. One of the cups was against them in the FA Cup final. You sign Mason Mount, you've got to do more business. You've got to build around Mason Mount and have goals up front and a solid keeper at the back. There's still a lot of gaps in this Manchester United side. There's no question about it. But Mason Mount going in there is absolutely the answer that Manchester United need to start off this transfer window. He isn't a wild-card young player coming from abroad. He isn't going to have to be loaned out. There isn't kind of a waiting process. For the money they're paying for him to have a ready-made Champions League English midfielder, it's unbelievable business, lads. It's as simple as that. I have to give it a 9 out of 10. It's one of the best bits of business I've seen Man United do in a very long time. What can I say? Hate to say it as a City fan, of course. But if you've watched this far, really appreciate it. Would love you to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you soon.